Now, we have talked about some of our adversaries, near-peer adversaries, and the technology that they have been developed over the course of the last several decades. What can we as the United States be doing to make sure that we are tracking the advancements in technology that they have, and then as well as developing our own? What we really need to see is that the United States is, again, staying ahead of our near-peer adversaries. You had just stated, we don't want to see our warfighters in a fair fight. Threats and Capabilities meets today to receive testimony from Dr. Michael Griffin, Undersecretary of Defense for Research and Engineering, on accelerating new technologies to meet emerging threats. The National Defense Strategy acknowledges that our increasingly complex security environment is defined by rapid technological advancements, which have the potential to change the very character of war. These technologies include advancing computing, big data, analytics, artificial intelligence, autonomy, robotics, directed energy, hypersonics, and biotechnology. Moreover, their development is increasingly dispersed, expanding both to near-peer competitors and other actors with the means to use these technologies against our warfighters. These technologies also represent major opportunities for our own forces, and innovation has always been a major strength of the Department of Defense's research and engineering enterprise, which includes the DoD laboratories and organizations like DARPA and the Strategic Capabilities Office. However, getting these technologies in the hands of our warfighters can sometimes be challenging for the Department of Defense, which has struggled to bridge the so-called Valley of Death for new technologies. This valley refers to the space between the research and engineering community and the acquisition community, which are responsible for fielding operational systems. In his confirmation hearing, Secretary Griffin testified that this transition is the, quote, hardest problem we have. End quote. I will look to Secretary Griffin to understand how he will use his own newly established position to help bridge this gap. The fielding of these critical new technologies contained within the National Defense Strategy demands urgent attention and new approaches to ensure that our forces are postured to fight and win.
Adversaries have taken advantage of what I have referred to as a holiday for the United States. It hasn't been exactly that, but with the fall of the Berlin Wall, and I was in the Pentagon when the wall came down and when the Soviet Union broke up, and we had won the Cold War, and we had no major adversary in the world, and we declared a peace dividend, and we felt we had won. the winners never learn anything and the losers always do. So over the course of the 25 years since that has happened, China has understood fully how to be a superpower. We gave them the playbook, and they're executing. Russia, after a period of very difficult times for them, is now resurgent in the world of global competition, great power competition. And these are the things our national defense strategy calls out. We've been occupied for 15 years in the Mideast dealing with the urgent problem of terrorism and non-state warfare and other very, very difficult problems, but problems which are not existential for the United States. They are difficult, they are important, they are concerning, but they are not existential. Our global power adversaries are existential threats, and this is what the National Defense Strategy is saying. And I am tremendously pleased with that strategy. I regret to say I did not offer a contribution to it, but I am delighted with what they have put forth, and I think that should be our Bible.
And then in your position, then how do we use the expertise that you have to catch up to those near-peer adversaries?
Well, in certain areas, like you mentioned A2AD, anti-access area denial, China has fielded or can field, is close to fielding hypersonic delivery systems for conventional prompt strike that can reach out thousands of kilometers from the Chinese shore and hold our carrier battle groups or our forward deployed forces on land that we have bases, can hold those power groups at risk. We today do not have systems which can hold them at risk in a corresponding manner, and we don't have defenses against those systems. Should they choose to employ them, we would be today at a disadvantage. It is among my very highest priorities to erase that disadvantage, creating our own systems to hold them at risk and to provide defense. We will never win a man-to-man conflict with the Chinese, should that come about. We can only win by employing technical overmatch. So, for example, in the areas of missile defense or air defense, or even with our ground forces, in order to deal with things like swarming drone attacks, we have got to finish the development of directed energy weapons, which we, this country, started.
Muzzle velocities for the Blitzer system, relevant to all of these critical missions. Greater lethality at significant range, improved ship survivability, all-weather performance, and lower cost per kill. Kinetic projectiles do not use propellants or explosives, meaning greater safety and lower cost in transportation and handling, and increased ship survivability in combat. With deep magazine capability, firing plentiful ammunition that's much less expensive than current ordnance, the railgun allows ships to stay in the fight, reducing the long logistical tail, while increasing effective firepower. This technology is both remarkable and real. Electromagnetic railgun technology will continue to evolve, providing even greater capability. General Atomics, the acknowledged leader in electromagnetic launch, is on track to deliver this system to the warfighter in the near future, winning by delivering revolutionary capabilities to the United States Navy, today and tomorrow.
And some years ago decided we didn't really need. Well, we need to decide that we really do need them, fund them to completion. We need to have 100 kilowatt class weapons on Army theater vehicles. We need to have 300 kilowatt class weapons on Air Force tankers. We need to have megawatt class directed energy weapons in space for space defense. These are things that we can do over the next decade if we can maintain our focus. But if you ask what we need to do to regain and maintain a technological advantage on our adversaries, frankly, we have to work harder, We have to run faster. We have to have more focus on what we want to do. No adversary of ours at present has directed energy systems of the type of which I was just speaking. We should be the first. We should be putting them in a position to catch up with us. I've mentioned, you can find in public literature, many references to the Chinese hypersonics capability development. Frankly, we were the leaders in that 10 and 15 years ago, and we just let it drop. We need to get started again. We need to shorten our test cycle timelines. I referred yesterday to an experiment called Flight Experiment 1 that the Navy did with a long-range conventional prompt strike experiment. It was frankly an experiment. It's not a weapon system yet. They did a brilliant job with it. I mean, I won't quote numbers, but I'll just say that the impact accuracy was quite impressive. So in chatting with my colleagues at the senior levels of the Navy, I said, well, when can I have FE2? When can I have FE3? Why not next August? Or why not this August? I mean, we need to finish the development of these systems, and it cannot be done at a leisurely pace because our adversaries are not working at a leisurely pace. As much as anything else, it's the sense of urgency, Senator, that we really must get to this.